first story. I drowned my stepson's Xbox in the pool he bought with his own money as punishment for skipping my house chore. And my entitled stepson called me a psycho and compared me to his bio father. So I kicked him out of my house. Now he sued me with his father's manipulations, and I lost everything. My wife, my job, and my family. But I was just disciplining. I'm 35 and married to my wife 38F, and she has a 16-year-old son, Tyler, from her previous marriage. I've been in Tyler's life since he was about 10. His bio dad 46M and my wife split when Tyler was young, and since then, it's been a classic split custody arrangement. Tyler spends weekdays with us and weekends with his dad. It's been that way for years. I'll be blunt, I never came into this trying to be Tyler's friend. I'm not here to replace his father, and I don't expect him to love me. But I live in this house, I pay bills, and I handle the day-to-day parenting when his mom's at work, which is often. That means structure, rules, and expectations. I don't care if that makes me the bad guy in his eyes. The issue is, Tyler doesn't just dislike me, he despises me. That's not an exaggeration. He calls me controlling, overbearing, psycho, etc. He's been saying that since he was 13. At first I tried to meet him halfway. I took him to movies, bought him birthday gifts, even helped him with school projects. But once I laid down basic expectations, clean your room, help around the house, and finish your homework before you jump on your phone or Xbox, he turned on me. And yes, this isn't the first time we've had gaming-related drama. About a year ago, I caught Tyler sneaking his Switch into bed at 3 a.m. when he had school the next morning. He'd been flunking algebra and blamed anxiety. I didn't buy it. I confiscated the Switch for 2 weeks, and he acted like I'd burned his dog. He sulked, ignored me, and ran to his dad about it. Next thing I knew, his dad was calling my wife, demanding to know why I was policing his son's hobbies. The pattern's been the same ever since. Tyler does something reckless or lazy, I enforce discipline, and his dad swoops in to play hero. I lay down rules, and his dad undermines me with passive-aggressive texts or backhanded remarks like, "Must be nice to be the man of the house when you didn't make the kid." Let's be real. I have every right to run my house the way I see fit. I work full-time, I do home repairs, I buy groceries. And yes, I expect basic respect and contribution from a 16-year-old who eats like a vacuum and leaves cereal bowls in every room of the house. I don't do allowances. I never have, and I've been clear about that. If you want money, you work. I told Tyler this openly. But his dad? Oh no, he gives him $40 here, $100 there, and random gifts every time they meet. It's always a fun time with cool dad, while I'm the one enforcing boundaries. Anyway, a few weeks ago, Tyler started working part-time at a local pizza place. Good for him. I was genuinely glad to see him take initiative. He mentioned wanting to buy an Xbox, something I had already told him wasn't going to happen in this house. His mom and I had discussed this before. Consoles are fine only if grades are stable and chores are done consistently. Tyler's GPA is hanging by a thread, and he conveniently forgets chores every other day. So, no, I didn't greenlight the Xbox. But then I found out through his mom, not even Tyler himself, that he had already bought it. With help from his dad. Apparently, Tyler had saved a few $100 from his job, and his dad offered to double whatever he saved. So just like that, he had a brand new Xbox sitting in his room. Set up. Plugged in. No discussion with me. No courtesy text. Nothing. I saw red. I called his dad and straight up asked, "Why the hell would you do that knowing it's against the rules here?" He told me, smug as ever, "Tyler earned it, and you don't get to control what happens in his mom's house." I told him, "No, this isn't just her house, it's our house, and I'm part of the parenting equation." I told him to keep the Xbox at his place then, so Tyler could use it there. He said, "I'm not a storage unit, and that's not up to me." I warned him not to interfere again, or there'd be consequences. He laughed and hung up. Fast forward 2 days. It's a Saturday. I told Tyler Friday night, "You need to mow the lawn tomorrow before noon. Don't touch that Xbox until it's done." He nodded, said okay, and went to bed. By 1 p.m. the next day, the lawn was untouched. He was in his room gaming. I knocked, walked in, and there he was, headset on, controller in hand, laughing with his online buddies. Lawn half dead. His mother had just come off a double shift. I was pissed. I told him to turn it off and get outside. He waved me off like I was the help. Didn't even pause the game. Just said, "Yeah, in a sec." I snapped. I unplugged the console, walked straight out to the backyard, and launched that thing into the deep end of the pool. Tyler followed me outside, yelling like I'd set his room on fire, screaming about how I'd ruined his life, how I was crazy, and how his dad would sue me. I didn't engage. I said, "Next time, do your chores." He locked himself in his room, crying. I didn't feel bad. Not then, not now. About an hour later, my wife gets a call from her ex. Apparently, Tyler had called him sobbing. And now he's screaming at me over the phone, saying I'm abusive, unstable, and should be arrested for destroying private property. I told him Tyler broke my rules in my house, and there are consequences for that. He yelled, and I hung up. That evening, Tyler's dad shows up uninvited. He walked into the driveway like he owned the place. No call. No heads up. Just strolled up while I was sweeping near the garage. Tyler opened the door and ran to him like I'd just beaten him with a belt. His dad stormed in, yelling from the second he crossed the threshold. "You had no right. That Xbox was his. I paid for it, he worked for it, and you destroyed it." I didn't yell back. I stood there and said, "He ignored house rules. He chose games over responsibility. That comes with consequences. You don't get to decide consequences for things you didn't buy. You're not his real father." That line always comes out when he has no argument left. I replied, "Then keep your gifts at your house. Don't dump distractions in mine and expect me to babysit the fallout." He told me I was going to pay for a new one. I laughed in his face. I said, "I'm not paying a cent for something I didn't want here in the first place." Tyler started yelling from behind him, saying I always ruin everything, that I don't care about him, and that I'm just jealous of his dad. I didn't even look at him. I just said, "Get your things. If your dad thinks he can do better, go live with him." My wife wasn't home. She came back an hour later, right after Tyler had packed up and left with his dad. The second she walked in, I got the full explosion. "You had no right. You embarrassed him. You humiliated me. You could have just taken the console away. You didn't have to destroy it." I told her exactly what I told her son. If you let him walk all over rules now, he'll walk all over people the rest of his life. She didn't like that. She started crying, saying I overstepped, that this would traumatize Tyler. Then she tried to spin it, said I was jealous of her ex's relationship with his son. That pissed me off more than anything else. I told her, I don't give a damn about his relationship. But if you're not willing to back me when I enforce basic rules, then what exactly are we doing here? No response to that. Then she tried to guilt trip me, saying, now he's gone and says he won't come back. I told her, then maybe his dad can finally see what it's like to parent, instead of just playing weekend buddy. The next day, I get texts from her side of the family. Her sister, her mom, and even her cousin are messaging me, saying I'm abusive, power tripping, and need therapy. Apparently my wife told them I kicked Tyler out and stopped her from seeing her own son. Total lie. I never said she couldn't see him. I said he could go stay with his dad if his dad thinks he's got it all figured out. Now everyone's painting me like the villain. I'm the guy who dared throw a toy into the water after months of being disrespected, ignored, and undermined. I asked my wife straight up, are you okay with how Tyler treats me? With how your ex talks to me like I'm the help? She wouldn't answer. Just said, this isn't how a parent handles things. No one seems to care that I was the one laying down rules when Tyler was acting out at 13. I was the one helping him through late homework, setting up consequences when he cursed at teachers, and pushing him to get a damn job in the first place. Now I'm the monster because I won't let him coast. You want to know what's funny? A week ago, Tyler left his sneakers in the hallway and tracked mud across the floor. I told him to clean it. He said, why don't you clean it? You're the one who cares. That's how he talks to me now. That's what I've been dealing with. But no, let's all cry over a console. So yeah, I threw it in the pool. I made a point. No more half measures. I don't feel bad. I'd do it again. But now Tyler's not coming back. My wife's still mad. Her family thinks I'm unhinged. His dad keeps texting threats and legal talk, like he's going to sue me over a wet console. So here I am, asking. Ada? Comments. Comment 1. YTA. I don't care how many chores he missed, throwing something he earned into a pool is psycho behavior. You want to talk about responsibility? You just modeled what not taking responsibility looks like. You destroyed property instead of solving the problem like an adult. Let's be real. You're not disciplining Tyler. You're in a power struggle with his father and using the kid as the battleground. That Xbox wasn't about gaming. It was about your resentment towards the bio dad stepping into your space. Your tone screams insecurity masked as authority. Your wife's caught in the middle, and you just made it impossible for her to keep peace. Now her son hates you, her ex is in rage mode, and her own family's blowing up her phone. But hey, at least the Xbox is dead, right? Comment 2. NTA. You laid down rules. Kid ignored him. He faced consequences. End of story. This, he worked hard for it argument people keep throwing around is bullshit. You know what else people work for? Cars. But if you crash that car because you're being reckless, guess what? It's gone. Same logic. You told him, no Xbox till the lawn's mowed. He said screw you. Boom. Xbox swims. His dad is a walking L. He's weaponizing parenting to look like the hero and turning your home into Disneyland's evil twin. He undermines your authority, but doesn't actually raise the kid. Then he shows up screaming like a lunatic when his gift gets trashed. F that noise. You stepped in because no one else would. Yeah, it was harsh, but it wasn't abuse. It was the only language a kid like that was going to understand. And if his mom and dad won't have your back, don't expect Tyler to suddenly turn into a responsible angel out of nowhere. He wants to live with his dad. Let him. Bet he'll be back in a month once the Wi-Fi gets shut off and the Xbox doesn't buy groceries. Comment 3. YTA. And you're not even hiding it. This wasn't parenting, it was a tantrum in a moral disguise. You didn't throw the Xbox in the pool because of chores. You threw it in the pool because you needed to prove you run the house. That's it. That was your little, I'm the man here moment. Congrats. Let's be real. You don't give a F about Tyler's growth. You hate the kid. It bleeds out in every line. You don't talk like someone who's frustrated or trying to guide a team, you talk like someone who's keeping score. Every sentence is loaded with resentment. He eats like a vacuum. He treats me like the help. He ran to daddy crying. You loathe this kid and still expect him to respect you. And let's talk about what you taught him. That hard work doesn't matter. That your power is more important than his effort. That men solve problems by destroying SHT. You didn't teach him discipline, you taught him how bitterness looks in adult form. Bio dad's a DC kick, sure. But you? You made sure you'll never be anything more than the guy who threw his Xbox in a pool. And good luck rebuilding after that. You burned the whole bridge and lit a cigar on the ashes. Update. Didn't expect this to blow up. Some of you nailed it. SHT hit the fan harder than I thought. Here's how it's going since I tossed the Xbox. A few days after Tyler moved in with his dad, I got hit with a small claims court notice. Yep, Tyler's filing for destruction of property. I laughed at first and thought it was some petty stunt his dad cooked up. Turns out he's dead serious. They're asking for $700 full replacement cost, plus emotional distress. The kid's playing the long game now. That same week, CPS showed up at my door. Apparently, someone filed a report. I wasn't told who, but let's not play dumb. It was either the dad or my wife's sister. They said it was an anonymous concern about escalating hostility in the household. No abuse claims, but they wanted to verify emotional safety. They asked about how I discipline, if I've ever thrown or broken anything else, and how my wife and I handle conflict. They talked to her alone too. We're not in legal trouble, but now we've got a case file and a paper trail. One wrong move and this house becomes a liability. My wife's family is done with me. That bridge is ashes. Her sister blocked me. Her mom called her crying, saying she can't believe she's staying with a man who breaks things to prove points. Her cousin posted a not-so-subtle meme about man-children with anger issues and tagged my wife. Even her brother, who I used to grab beers with, messaged me. You're not welcome at Christmas until you fix this. I didn't know tossing a console meant total exile. But that's not the worst of it. My wife sat me down last week and dropped the bomb. She's been talking with her ex. Says she's concerned about co-parenting long-term. Her solution? She's handing off all major parenting decisions about Tyler to her ex. Her reasoning? I've lost Tyler's trust, so I shouldn't be the one making calls about his rules, school, curfew, money, etc. So, going forward, if Tyler has an issue, she'll discuss it with his dad, not with me. I'm emotionally compromised, she said. So now I'm just the guy who pays the bills and gets ignored in his own home. Any voice I had in parenting, gone. And Tyler? He's not coming back. Made that crystal clear. My wife begged him to come visit for dinner. He told her flat out, not while he's there. He's blocked me everywhere. He told his dad he wants to transfer schools to stay with him. He even said he'd rather sleep on the floor at his dad's apartment than come back here. My wife broke down after that call. Said she feels like she lost her son overnight. Didn't say it, but we both know who she's blaming. Funny part? His dad can't even take full custody. The guy has a chronic medical condition not fatal, but serious enough that he can't function alone some days. Some kind of neurological fatigue thing. He's also constantly on the road for work. He doesn't cook, clean, or have a real home setup. He crashes in hotels half the month. He's admitted that taking Tyler full-time isn't realistic, but he still fought like hell in court to modify custody, just to spite me. The judge denied him. The court still sees me and my wife as the stable household. Financially secure. Structurally consistent. Which makes this even more insane. I'm the only one who can realistically provide for Tyler. And now I'm not even allowed to parent him. My wife isn't separating officially yet, but it's clear she's gone emotionally. She said we need time apart, that she's going to stay at her sister's for a few weeks to give Tyler space. She took a bag, her laptop, and her pillow. I haven't heard from her since Monday. So I'm alone in this house. No wife. No stepson. No family. Just messages from her mother's group chat still rolling in, talking about how controlling men don't change and how Tyler needs healing, not authoritarianism. To top it all off, Tyler filmed a video about it. Posted a TikTok, a cropped photo of the drowned Xbox, him in tears, and a text overlay reading, "Worked for months." Stepdad tossed it in the pool for missing one chore. It's already at 8K views. Comments are calling me psycho stepdad, insane boomer energy, toxic masculinity in 4K. One comment said, "Hope that control trip was worth losing your whole family. I didn't think it would spiral this far. I thought rules mattered. I thought consequences taught responsibility. But I guess people don't care about the house you've built when the story looks better on video. I'm still not sorry I threw that Xbox. I'd do it again. But now I'm sitting in the wreckage, wondering what that one decision really cost me." Comments. Comment 1. Holy SHT dude. You really nuked your whole life over a console. And before you say, it wasn't just about the Xbox. Yeah, we know. That's the problem. You weren't parenting Tyler. You were punishing your wife's ex through him. Look, your points about structure, rules, and responsibility. All valid. But you used those principles like a crowbar to assert dominance. And now you've got nothing, no kid, no wife, no family backing you. Because you made it about power. Your house, your rules, your authority. But you forgot something huge. If no one wants to live under those rules, the house becomes a prison. Wife bailed. Kids gone. Even the court thinks you're technically the better household. But emotionally, you've lost the whole damn war. Comment 2. YTA to your bones. You came on Reddit to whine that the people around you won't obey like soldiers in your perfect little kingdom. The truth. You were never a father. You were a warden with a mortgage. That kid worked his arse off to buy something for himself. That mattered. He earned it. You weren't even the one who paid for it. But you sure as hell made sure he'd never forget you took it. That's not teaching responsibility. That's shattering trust. And now you want sympathy because no one wants to talk to you anymore. You ruined the one relationship that wasn't replaceable. Your wife might come back. The courts might favor you. But that kid, you'll never have his respect again. And honestly, you don't deserve it. Actions have consequences, right? Welcome to yours. Comment 3. NTA. I'm honestly tired of everyone acting like a 16-year-old is some helpless baby. Tyler isn't 6. He's old enough to get a part-time job and old enough to buy himself a $700 console. But somehow not old enough to mow the lawn before gaming. Nah. You laid out a very clear rule. Chores first, games after. He ignored you, flipped you off in his own way, and expected zero consequences. That's not childhood, that's entitlement. And his dad feeds it by swooping in with gifts and undermining you. Then the internet cries abuse because you didn't confiscate it gently enough. Please. Everyone calling you a tyrant is missing the point. This wasn't about the Xbox. It was about respect in your own home. Tyler has 2 parents who've been letting him bounce between houses with no consistent standards. And you're the only one who ever tried to hold the line. Yeah, the way you handled it was nuclear. But sometimes nuclear is the only thing that cuts through years of undermining. You're not perfect. But you're not the arsehole people are making you out to be either. Update. Final update, probably. The fallout's more than I expected. I thought losing Tyler's trust was the worst of it. I was wrong. Let's start with the court case. I showed up ready to explain my side. Didn't matter. The judge didn't care about the house rules. All that mattered was this. Tyler bought the Xbox with his own money. His dad contributed. I destroyed property that wasn't mine. Done. Verdict. I owe $700 in damages, plus court fees. I walked out with a judgment and a reminder that being the house authority means nothing in front of a judge if your name's not on the receipt. But the court loss wasn't the most humiliating part. Someone at work found out not from the TikTok, not from gossip. One of our vendors is friends with Tyler's dad. Guess the guy heard the story straight from the source and recognized my name. I got called into a culture and conduct meeting the next day. They didn't fire me, but they froze my promotion path and took me off all high visibility accounts. They said they need people who reflect company values. Translation: I've hit a ceiling. Doesn't matter if I'm technically good at my job, I'm now a reputational risk. I was in line for a lead role next quarter. Not anymore. They've already filled it. I'm stuck in neutral, and my team knows it. Therapy didn't help either. After the CPS case reopened briefly thanks to the TikTok, we were encouraged to go through family counseling as a healing step. It was more like an interrogation. Tyler didn't attend, but the therapist asked me about the incident, how I handle stress, and how I discipline. I didn't sugarcoat it. I told the truth. I believed he needed a hard consequence. Her report didn't favor me. She called me emotionally rigid and control-driven, with a pattern of reactive behavior that may contribute to familial instability. She didn't use the word abusive, but it hung in the air. That report is now part of the custody paperwork. Even though Tyler's dad still can't take full custody due to his medical issues and travel, the therapist's findings were enough for the court to limit my parental input. Officially, I'm not allowed to make any parenting decisions regarding Tyler. Everything goes through his mom and dad. So I'm legally part of the house, but cut off from parenting entirely. And then Tyler cut off his mom, too. She tried to reach out. Texts, calls, voicemails. He ignored her. She went to his school to try and talk to him. He walked the other way. The last thing she heard was from his dad. Tyler wants space from both of you. He sees her staying with me as betrayal. Says if she cared, she would have left the second it happened. She cried for 3 days straight. Locked herself in the guest room. Blamed me for ruining everything. She said she lost her only child because I couldn't just unplug a effing Xbox. After that, she changed. Quiet. Detached. No affection. No arguments either, just nothing. 3 weeks ago, she told me she was filing for divorce. Just said, "It's not working. I'm not recovering from this." She already got a lawyer. She's moving back in with her sister. The house is going up for sale. She said I can buy her out, or they'll list it on the market. I can't afford to buy her out. Especially not now. The court fees. The Xbox judgment. The legal consultations. Therapy sessions. Plus the promotion I lost, which would have come with a 20% raise. That's all gone. My finances are bleeding out. I canceled the gym. Sold my old tools. I'm down to a single car. I've got about 4 months of savings left. And that's if nothing else breaks. Funny how quick it all collapses. One decision. One moment of holding the line. I'm sitting in a half-empty house, stripped of authority, of family, of trust. I thought I was building discipline. What I built was resentment. What I enforced wasn't respect, it was silence. I still don't regret enforcing rules. But maybe I should have realized that people only follow rules when they feel safe, not cornered. So now I'm the one alone. Wife's gone. Stepson gone. Her family's out. My career's stalled. My finances are circling the drain. My name is a whisper people avoid, not respect. But I still don't believe I was wrong. Just outnumbered. Second story. Entitled Mill decided I had cheated on her son, demanded that I confess to my sins, and threatened to get me fired from the church and force a paternity test for my future kids. Now, before you assume I'm cheating, I'm not. Please read. Thanks. My husband was the type that believed in Noah's X before marriage. When we started dating, everything was perfect except this, and I accepted it since I really liked him, and soon we fell in love. After marriage, he slowly realized that he's really not that interested in SX whatsoever, and some therapy helped us realize that he's asexual. This was a major disappointment for me since I had been looking forward to having SX with him for a very long time. I couldn't leave him for this since I was, and still am in love with him. So we worked out a solution that I'll have an FWB for my asexual needs, and we set proper boundaries. We did this 2 years ago, and so far our life together has been very good. This has always been something between us, so nobody else knew. Well, out of some freak accident, and me not being as careful as I should have been, Mill figured out what's going on. I said something that raised suspicions, and she dug deep for weeks until she found out. Now she's threatening me to tell everyone what's going on. My husband has talked to her, telling her that it's a mutual decision and none of her business. But she's not having it. She's demanding that 1, I confess to my sins in the church, 2, I stop doing it, and 3, future kids will only be accepted in the family if we provide paternity tests. Otherwise, she will tell everyone. That will be a disaster since we live in a very religious and conservative community. I work for a church, and it almost certainly means I'll lose my job, and we will lose most of our friends as well. I don't want it to happen. We really have no idea how to avoid this situation. TLDR. My husband is as sexual, and I have an FWB. Mill found out and is threatening to tell people unless we give in to her demands. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Not to kick you when you're down, but how was she able to dig deep? Everything short of a private detective, and you were being way bad at hiding this. For God's sake, people manage to hide these things from their own partners. The only reason I'm saying this is, of course, you don't stop. Just cover your tracks better. I'm assuming you don't have to confess in public. Then the only thing that matters is just hiding it better. And could you, for your own sanity, then maybe work on getting less conservative friends, and maybe find another job, and never see your husband's family again? How is he taking the fact that your mother is threatening to sabotage your entire life? BTW. He should be furious. Because after this, you're never going to be accepted. Even if she doesn't out you in public, she'll know. She'll gossip. She'll dig. So either you get your husband to keep his side of the family in line, or make sure you don't need that side of the family. OP. She followed me after work for days, basically playing private detective herself, because she suspected that I was cheating. I wasn't very careful at hiding it since I never thought anyone would care to even look into me. I was wrong. He is furious at his mother, but we both understand that anger will not solve anything, so we're trying to be pragmatic. We want to avoid as much harm as possible, and in the long term I should find a new job, and maybe we should expand our social circles to include more open-minded people. Comment 2. Is she going to expose the identity of your FWB too? How might this affect him? OP. We talked to him as well. This won't affect him much. He's not in our normal social circle, and his place of work will not care at all. Comment 3. What a vile woman. If your husband can't convince his own mother to not blow up your life, I don't think there's anything you can do. Your mill will never let this go, and will use this information to blackmail you for decades. Do not think for a second that if you comply with her demands, there won't be more demands after that. Over and over again. This information will get out eventually. OP. Yeah, that's why we can't just give in to her demands. There will be more, especially when we have kids. We're trying to find a solution that doesn't mean total disaster, and we can't seem to find it. Comment 4. Could your husband threaten her right back by withholding all future access to her grandkids if she doesn't keep this a secret? But honestly, I fear you're F-ed either way. Your husband needs to deal with this, but you've been playing with fire, doing what you're doing in the kind of community you're living in. Secrets like these always come out, and with the judgmental people that surround you, it won't end well. Unfortunately, I suggest you prepare for the worst. OP. We threatened her back with that. She isn't afraid because in her mind, they won't even be her grandkids, even if we give her a paternity test. She won't believe the test, given her paranoia. Comment 5. My husband was the type that believed in no sex before marriage. When we started dating, everything was perfect except this, and I accepted it since I really liked him. And soon we fell in love. After marriage, he slowly realized that he's really not that interested in sex whatsoever. And some therapy helped us realize that he's asexual. This was a major disappointment for me since I had been looking forward to having sex with him for a very long time. No. He was in his late 20s when this FWB arrangement started. He didn't slowly realize he was not interested in sex after you married him. This is not a revelation that first occurs to you in your mid-20s. He slowly revealed to you that he wasn't interested in sex after he had got you to marry him. OP. He always believed that things would change after marriage, as he was led to believe. After marriage, he realized that things weren't going to change. He didn't deceive me in any way. I don't doubt his sincerity for 1 second. I was right there with him with his struggles to deal with this. Update. So she told everyone. That made us explain to people what's going on. And surprisingly, people weren't all that bad. We lost about half of our friends, but others basically said it's none of their business, and they don't care. We underestimated some of our friends. We decided to cut off Mill and everyone who sided with her. My Sil was the last person who I thought would come on our side, but she did. She called and defended us and told us that she'll join us in cutting off her mother, since this could have easily been her instead of her brother. But I lost my job. The church basically had to let me go since people wanted me gone. So that also happened. I'm now looking for a new job. Mill also went to my FWB's place to confront him. He shut the door in her face and told her to F off. TLDR. Mill told everyone, and I lost my job, friends split, and we decided to cut off her and those who supported her. I'm looking for a new job now. Comments. Comment 1. She actually went to your FWB's house. Wow. I actually think this went sort of well. Losing your job sucks, but the fact that you did lose your job because of your private, personal life means this wasn't the job for you. Now you know who your friends are and that you still have friends. You have a better relationship with Sil, and you can cut Mill out of your life with no more debate or guilt. So, congrats. OP. She blamed him for seducing me. She thinks I met a hot guy and lost my mind over him, and then guilted my husband into accepting this arrangement. Comment 2. Out of curiosity, care to explain how you found your FWB? OP. Online dating. I made a profile and wrote what I'm after. Out of hundreds of people who contacted me, I went on dates with about 15 people until I found someone I liked and could connect with. It was a great arrangement for both of us since he wanted a lover for sex and physical intimacy, but not a relationship. I then invited him to meet my husband, and after he told me that he likes him and gave me the go-ahead, I went on further dates with the FWB, and we eventually started having sex. Once we both realized this could work long-term, we sat down and worked out boundaries, and it's working very well for us. Comment 3. OP, I remember your original post. May I ask what you said that tipped her off in the first place? I was really curious about that. OP. It was about polygamy. She was saying how wrong it is, and I just added a comment that as long as it's consenting adults, it shouldn't matter. We had a few back and forths, and I dropped it, but my answers made her suspicious. Comment 4. Are you still going to attend that church? I mean, a church is a community, which is hard to leave, but they just took away your job too. OP. Of course not. I'm not even religious. Church was just a well-paying job for me. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.